police have made an arrest in connection to the murders investigation of 4 college students in Idaho. 2 federal law enforcement sources tell CNN that the FBI took a suspect into custody in northeastern Pennsylvania. The arrest comes nearly 7 weeks after the students were found stabbed to death in a home near the University of Idaho campus. Police in Moscow, Idaho will hold a news conference later this afternoon, and CNN's Veronica Miracle is live in Moscow, Idaho with the very latest. Veronica?
Well, Amara, as you said, those federal sources telling our CNN's Josh Campbell and Mark Morales that an arrest has been made. We understand that at this point it is a man in his 20s, but beyond that, there are very few details coming out at this hour. I did speak with police this morning where they said there is going to be that news conference at 1 p.m. today. They would not tell me any further details, but just for context, this is the first press conference that the police department has held in weeks. We understand that this is going to be obviously a major development where they're going to be talking about that arrest, but it has been nearly 7 weeks since the murders happened here at this home behind me, and you can see actually today another monumental day here at the crime scene that has been very relatively quiet over the past few weeks. There is a cleanup crew here cleaning this house today, and it's going to be eventually turned back over to the property owner. And so we understand that so much is happening here in Moscow, and the police department making this big announcement today. And it also comes on the heels when 2 families are going to be holding a celebration of life this evening in Coeur d'Alene. It's about an hour and a half away from here, northern Idaho. Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves, they were the best of friends. The families have been planning this for a couple of weeks now. They're going to be holding it at a local church, and certainly there's going to be a lot for the families to be discussing tonight. Amara.
And Veronica, I know you've been following this story for weeks now. Can you talk to us a little bit about just how these murders have impacted the community, how we've got to this point, and also the fact, that investigators have been quite tight-lipped about any new developments. So this is obviously, a huge development that we're hearing today.
Certainly coming as a shock because, as you said, they have been so tight-lipped this entire time. Nearly the full 7 weeks, there has been very little information released, and I think that's why some of the families, at least one of the families, have been very outspoken. The Gonsalves family really just frustrated with the lack of information, but the entire time, police were telling us and the public that they had strong leads, that they had a lot of information coming in, and that they were trying to keep the information close to protect the integrity of this investigation. This happened again 7 weeks ago. 4 students murdered. The coroner says that they were likely murdered in their sleep. Some of them had defensive wounds, and so it appears that they were trying to fight off the attacker. It happened in the early morning hours after a night of partying. One couple, Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, were at a party at Sigma Chi fraternity. It's not far from here. It's really in walking distance. And the other couple, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, the best of friends, they were out at the Corner Club. It's a bar in the area. They all came back here and were all home by around 2 in the morning on that early Sunday morning. And what happened between 2 a.m. and noon when that first 911 call came in, well, that is still a mystery, but we hope to learn more today at that press conference. Amara.
All right, to be held at 4 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate your reporting, Veronica Miracle. Thank you.
President Biden has just announced 6 full pardons in the final days of 2022. The White House has described these 6 people as individuals who have served their sentences and have demonstrated a commitment to improving their communities and the lives of those around them. Joining me right now, NBC White House correspondent Mike Memley, who is on detail in St. Croix. Yes, he's traveling with the president, but I like to give you a hard time given where you are, my friend. Anyway, let's talk about this new round of pardons. What do you know?
Well, Alex, obviously all presidents have this right to grant pardons and clemencies, and it's often interesting to see how they choose to exercise that power. So in the case of the 6 individuals that the president has granted clemency pardons to today. 5 of them are people who had served time for drug-related offenses. And of course, one of the stories of 2022, underrated compared to other stories, of course, that we've been covering, but was the president taking steps in the direction of decriminalizing marijuana, for instance. He earlier this year did grant some pardons to individuals who have and were serving jail time for marijuana possession charges. I want to highlight, though, one of the other individuals who is on this list today. Her name is Beverly Ann Tomas. She's 80 years old from Columbus, Ohio. At the age of 33, she was charged and convicted ultimately of second-degree murder. She killed her husband while she was pregnant. Now, this ultimately, as the White House puts it, was found to be one of the first documented cases of battered woman syndrome that led to only a 5-year sentence. It was one of the first instances of this, as it's been known, being actually brought into consideration during a judicial proceeding. And so, of course, we know President Biden, over the course of his career, the author of the Violence Against Women Act, is choosing, I think, in this case, to highlight a case that shows how much progress has been made, but how more could still be done. Now, I had mentioned the benign prerogative, as it was called by Alexander Hamilton, this presidential right to a pardon. It happened. Just so happens, as anybody who saw Hamilton knows, he's from here in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
This is CBS News Flash. I'm Dan Lieberman in New York. President Biden signed a $1.7 trillion spending package to fund the government. The package includes $45 billion in military and economic aid to Ukraine and $38 billion for emergency disaster assistance. It also includes reforms to the Electoral Count Act, clarifying the vice president does not have the power to overturn results of a presidential election. In New York City, the first ever legal recreational marijuana sales began at 4:20 p.m. Thursday as the state marked the opening of its first dispensary. The new year will bring several more openings, projected to generate $4 billion over the next 5 years. In preparing for New Year's Eve, the confetti test run in New York's Times Square was a success. On Saturday, 3,000 pounds of confetti will drop from 7 locations. For more, download the CBS News app on your cell phone or connected TV. I'm Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
Why do you say the birds? Are the accusation realistic?
The Matrix has attacked me.
NBC News can now confirm that the person in custody is that man right there, 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohberger. This is according to court records and 4 law enforcement officials confirming that to NBC. Kohberger is being held right now in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. He is at the prison there. Police in Moscow, Idaho, have announced a 4 p.m. Eastern Time press conference to provide an update on this case, but the Moscow Police Department is not yet confirming the arrest. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson for the latest on this. Okay, it's been an hour and change since we've been getting this. Anything new in the last hour? What do we know, Steve?
Just to update you on the timeline, we're going to have that press conference from Moscow Police a little bit later on today where we should learn a whole lot more about the suspect with them announcing the arrest. The primary department that has been on this from minute one. There is a 3:30 extradition hearing for Kohberger scheduled to be in Monroe County, and then we'll know more about his future across state lines. All we know is that name, as you just mentioned, Alex, Brian Christopher Kohberger, 28 years old, believed to have some tie, of course, with that university in Moscow, Idaho. Of course, the scene thousands and thousands of miles away from northern Pennsylvania near the Poconos, and obviously police still making that connection there, along with the FBI, who assisted, as we know, in the investigation. But I mean, this has been going on for 6 to 7 weeks now. These families have been waiting for anything as far as answers. They've been waiting for anything as far as more details. And so to have all of this happen all at once, a bit of a surprise, because police weren't releasing any information that they had anybody targeted as a person of interest, let alone a suspect now in custody. So all of this is coming out. We should know a whole lot more a little bit on today at that press conference in just a few hours. And of course, we'll bring that to you. But right now, I think families are looking for justice, and they may be able to get it. I think that's the feeling now there in Moscow, Idaho.